What's up guys, Adam at Clearwater Outfitters, and this is the all new for 2024 from Shimano, the Twin Power FE. This reel right here is going to kill the sales of the Stella. So let's hit some of the big features that this reel has. Not the specs, we'll get into the specs, but let's hit some of the features. And like I said, many of these are shared with the Stella. First big one that you'd expect out of this reel, I mean, it's far from Shimano's cheapest end, so you're gonna kind of jump right into what most of the Shimano reels have. So the body of this reel is Shimano's Hagane body, which is the cold forged aluminum process they use. They use this in the gears as well. It's just a crazy process where they're forging the gears cold, which just provides a very, very hard metal as opposed to something like, you know, casting, which can be brittle. This is a cold forge process. This is high end fancy processes right here. So they combine this with a carbon fiber material, their CI4+, I'm sure you're familiar, to make an ultra light body. But this is not the exact body that the Stella has. The Stella is also Hagane body, but they do it with a magnesium instead of an aluminum. A little fancier, a little bougier, and a little bit lighter than using aluminum. Don't have to worry about any flex in this reel. It's not gonna do it. You're fishing light tackle for big fish. That's usually where that happens. Now, Vanford is known for that a little bit with the smaller sizes. And you know, big giant snook, stuff like that. They get a little bit of flex. You're not gonna get that out of this reel. And a big thing that I think makes this reel unique and sets it apart from just about anything else besides the Stella is the infinity loop. So notice on this reel, the oscillation. Look how slow that is. So they've redone the oscillation, so it's extremely slow. This is exactly what the Stella has in it. The big thing that does is that stacks line right next to itself. Instead of crisscross, and Van Stalls do that. They crisscross like crazy. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it just doesn't help you cast. But what this reel does, it lays that line. Each wrap of line is stacked so close to the one previous to it. So when you're casting, that line doesn't have to jump up and down the spool to get off. It is so seamless and so effortless for that spool to release line when you're casting. I fished a Stella a while back. I'm not a big shot. I don't fish, you know, super high-end stuff like Stellas every day. But I fished one a while back, fished 2500 on a NRX. It was a super nice combo, it wasn't mine. But anyway, this is over the winter. We're throwing itty bitty baits for redfish. This is a 1/15 ounce Z-Man Ned shrimp on their little Ned jig or mushroom jig or whatever you call it. 1/15 ounce. Had 8-pound Power Pro on the setup. We were sight fishing redfish in extremely shallow water. My first 10 casts, I missed every single fish by like 30 feet past it. With that infinity loop, I was not used to how the line comes off the spool, and I was just overshooting everything. It was absolutely incredible how effortless it was to get extreme casting distance, even with a bait 1/15 ounce in size. All right, so the next big feature to highlight, you can see it right there on the spool, Infinity Cross, Cross, I don't know how to say it. Let's say Infinity Cross. So what that is that it's a coating and it's the way the gears are laid out so that they mesh together super well. A lot of reels, they don't mesh super well together between those two gears. With that mechanism, by the way, if you don't know, what that does is that takes the rotation of the handle and turns it from this axis, you know, up and down like this, to the rotor spinning that way. That's what that does. So it's, you know, the main gear is a round gear like you would expect, and the pinion's shaped a little differently. It's kind of tubular in design, but it's different. So those gears mesh together to make the rotation in that direction as opposed to the handle. But it's very common in some reels where those don't mesh together properly. There might be contact points that are stronger than others, so you're gonna have wear in those points rather than even distribution amongst the whole connection point, if that makes sense. So what that does is that increases durability over time, so you're not wearing on certain points. So they do that through design of those gears, as well as the coating on those two gears is proprietary. Is it something? I don't know, it might be marketing, but they say it's a coating that's proprietary that they put on. Probably a Teflon coating or ceramic of some kind that just allows for very frictionless but very efficient movement between those two gears. And this is not groundbreaking. I mean, to their other line of products, they have this from the Stratic Up. All right, so the next feature is also from the Stratic Up, but just quickly want to note it. It's Infinity Drive. And what this is in most reels, the shaft is mainly only supported by the pinion. So the pinion slides over the main shaft of the reel. That's how it gets that rotation like we were talking about from the handle to the rotor. So it slides over the main shaft, and that's what supports the main shaft. Infinity Drive provides a bearing of some kind around that to further support the main shaft, so when you're under load, when you're pulling on a fish, when it's pulling drag, that main shaft has no give whatsoever. When that thing gives, that whole spool moves, which can put uneven pressure on the drag or just bend internals out of place a little bit. So this really just helps keep that main shaft straight up and down so it doesn't go side to side, doesn't flex, doesn't bend, doesn't move. And then the other thing too is they put some kind of coating on the main shaft. I'm assuming it's a nitride coating that the Van Stalls have. It's probably something similar. But nitride is like a coating they use on guns a lot. And you think of a gun, it's the environment that a gun goes through as far as the inside of the barrel is much tougher than the saltwater environment that we put our reels through. So I'm assuming it's a coating very similar to that. That just helps keep that main shaft protected from elements if they were to ever get in there, and keep it safe over time. But additionally, that coating reduces friction and torque as well. The next thing is the drag. So this has the exact same drag out of the Stella, which is the Duracross drag. So that's carbon fiber and then another material they combine with that. And what that does is that increases durability 10 times. Yes, 10 times the durability of a standard drag, like just a standard carbon drag. So obviously you're getting serious longevity, and the drags in these reels are incredibly smooth. So the next thing, this kind of goes with the oscillation, but this reel has the long stroke spool. So the spool is a little bit taller. And so if you think of some other reels, they're not popular in the States. I see them in videos of Asian carp fishing and stuff like that, but they have the real tall spools on them, and they're the really long casting reels. There's some surf fishing reels that have that as well, but the really long spool, and they're much shallower because they don't need to be as deep to hold a significant amount of line when they're that tall. But this kind of mimics that to, a very minor degree, but they lengthen the spool out. It's just another way to make it so the line comes off the spool extremely easily to allow for longer casting distance. And it's got a nice flare on the spool as well. So whenever that end of the spool is making contact with the line, it's as friction free and as smooth as possible. The next feature is regarding the drag again. So this is another Stella technology they brought down to this reel, and that's the rigid support drag. So what this is they've put two bearings in the bottom of the spool. They're somewhere in this area. I mean, they're sealed in the spool. You can't see them if I take the spool off, but they sit up under the spool. And what they do is they support the whole spool on the shaft with two bearings. So what that does is that keeps the spool from having any, left to right off axis movements while a fish is taking drag. So if that happens, there's some wear that can happen on the spool between the shaft because the shaft doesn't spin. The spool moves around the main shaft. So that just keeps the spool aligned under load when the spool is spinning. Like I said, when a fish is taking drag, it keeps everything in perfect alignment. So you're getting very even, consistent drag pressure all throughout the fight while the spool is staying perfectly on plane as it's rotating around the main shaft. All right, the last big feature of this reel that I'm gonna hit is the SARB bearings. So these bearings have shielding on the top and the bottom of each individual bearing so that water cannot find its way in. I mean, with the X Protect and the amount of waterproofing in this reel, the odds of water getting to a bearing are very, very slim. But if they were to get to the bearing, those seals on the top and bottom are going to keep that water from getting into the ball bearings themselves and causing them to fail prematurely. So now let's get this awesome reel in the hand and see what it feels like. All right, here we are in the hand. I mean, it's butter. The startup inertia is, it's almost non-existent. Hardly takes anything to move this reel forward. And I bet you the 3000, 2500 are even, less startup inertia than this one, but it just feels, it's so smooth. It feels very lightweight. Very, very lightweight. It looks great. Very similar look to the Stella, which is right here. It's that same kind of gunmetal color. The Twin Power's got that little bit of gold in it. Kind of right in there on the handle. It's just super, super sharp. The bail wire, this is interesting. So you can see that bail wire is the same. It's got the same shape to it, but the angle's a little different there. You can see on the Stella, it's a little more flat. And on the Twin Power here, that's not bent. That's how it comes out of the box. It's got a little bit of flair to it, so just something to note. But no, it feels very lightweight in the hand. As I said, super, super smooth. Let's feel the bail action here now. Quiet, smooth, very assisted, but it's so lightweight that it doesn't really kick the reel very much at all. Let's hear the drag. Sounds great. A little different sound than the Stella. Here's the Stella. It's got a little more gong to it. This Twin Power FE, it's a little bit more dampened, just a little bit quieter. They both sound great, not a big deal, but I just love the cuts in the spool too. These little relief cuts, I mean, it's just a cool little look. Keeping it fresh, a little different, but and there's another look at that oscillation and how slow that is. But just overall great feel. I'm sure it's amazing to fish. So now let's get into the specs of this reel. This reel comes in sizes of 2500, the 3000, 4000, and 5000, the 5000 which has the power knob on it. But the one I've got in today's video is the 4K. So let's go over the specs of the 4K. So this reel has a gear ratio of 6.2 to 1, has a max drag of 24 pounds. It weighs 9.2 ounces. It holds 230 yards of 15-pound Power Pro. It retrieves 40 inches of line per crank, has 10 bearings, and this reel costs $459. So then a quick Stella comparison. This is the FK 4000. Every single one of those specs is identical with the exception of the bearings. All of them. Everything's the same. So this reel does have 13 bearings though. The other one, like we said, the Twin Power has 10. But it's $810. And we're looking at $460 on this Twin Power FE. So, I mean, getting 99% of the specs just about, and almost all the same exact technologies of this reel. At $460, this reel is a freaking steal. Not saying everyone needs to spend $460 on a reel. It's not at all what I'm saying. I think there's great reels out there for a lot less money. I've done a bunch of videos on different price points of reels. You can check one of those out right there. But I think what you get for the money in this reel for $460 makes it really hard to buy a Stella. I mean, I wouldn't if it was my own money. I'm gonna buy this and it's gonna fish just as well as a Stella. So good, in fact, that I don't think anybody is gonna be able to tell the difference. Let's say you're blindfolded hypothetically and you're holding each one of these reels and you go back and forth. Nobody's gonna be able to tell the difference. Hey, Branson. So Branson's got his handy dandy tailwater blindfold on. And here's what I did real quick. So I've got the Twin Power. I put a Gamexus handle on it. Don't hate me. Put a Gamexus handle on the Stella as well. So it's the same exact handle. The handles are slightly different in those two reels. Branson's smart enough and in tune with the Shimano stuff enough that he would be able to tell on that. So same exact handle on these two reels. Go ahead and blindfold.
Okay. Is this where I take my shirt off?
No, that's later.
Oh, sorry.
How many fingers am I holding up?
7.
Yeah, got it.
See, look at this.
All right, so I'm gonna mix these up. We got them both here. All right, grab one. Just feel around it. Feel around. Hold it up a little bit so they can see. Now, yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what it feels like.
Okay.
How's it feel?
Good. Feels nice. I mean, super smooth. I like it. It's a nice reel.
Yeah. Anything else you want to do with it? No, don't turn the spool because you'll know the sound.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just reeling
You
it.
can click the bell wire if you want.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would help or hurt.
This is weird when you're blindfolded.
Oh, I can imagine. I don't think you're gonna get this.
No.
All right, now grab the other one. Hold it up a little bit.
Right there?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I think I know. So to be
Why?
entirely honest,
So don't say what it is yet. Why?
There's just something about the first one, and I can hear a sound in this one too that I did not hear in the first one.
So hold it up. Which one do you think that is?
This is the Stella.
Gosh dang.
Yeah. I know. Because the Twin Power, yes, they are both super smooth. I could just tell. I don't know why.
You can pull your thing down.
Kind of like it.
Well, that's not exactly how I thought that would go.
Sorry.
All right, Branson's better than most and could tell the difference, but Alex is a fly guy, so I don't think he's gonna be able to tell. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Well, I'm used to 1-to-1 gear ratios.
Yeah, 6.2 to 1.
What's the other one?
6.2 to 1. So, mask up. How many fingers am I holding up?
Between 1 and 5.
Well, that's correct. You need to do something else. All right, hang on. I'm gonna move these around because they were in a certain order.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna, great. Just reach out and grab one. Hold it up a little bit. Yeah. So that's the one that's in his hand. Yeah. No, that's like a Mexus handle. That doesn't matter. How's it feel?
Feels like a Shimano.
Okay, that is correct. Can you
Feels
see?
like a nice Shimano.
Yep. It is a nice reel.
Okay.
All right, now grab the other one.
It feels different than with the regular handle on it. I can tell that already. I know which one this is.
Which one is that?
This is the Stella.
Okay, that's what you think, so that's your final answer. I'm not trying to get you to switch your guess. I was just.
Yeah.
Do they feel any different?
Yeah, a little bit.
What feels different?
I mean, I pick them up off the wall all the time and mess with them. So I'm just trying to.
You have a Stella as well, a 1K.
I have a 1K Stella. It doesn't get used very often though. And it doesn't have a good Mexus handle, which adds a little weight to it, I think, which maybe makes it feel different. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my guess. This is a Stella. The other one's a Twin Power. That's my guess.
Ha! Got him.
Wow.
Got him. Branson was good. Branson knew it right away. That little bit of sound.
That's what was throwing me off.
A little bit of sound difference. But
I figured that the Stella was quieter.
that's what I would have thought.
I haven't messed with the new Twin Power that much though, so just speaks to.
Got him.
I guess when I do. I mean, yeah, it's like Coke and Pepsi, right? Like everyone thinks they can do it and tell the difference, then you blindfold them, and most people can't.
I feel like I can do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a sample size of 2, so
One got it right and one got it wrong.
that's conclusive. I mean, with all that said, I know I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I would buy this reel over the Stella. I just think it's too similar to justify another $350 to buy the Stella. I don't think for that $350 extra, you're going to get a whole lot. You're getting bearings. There's a couple other things, I'm sure, but I mean, the biggest difference is going to be those few bearings. The smoothness of the reel, you can't tell the difference in bearings. So yeah, I mean, this is what I would buy over the Stella. Let me know in the comments if that's what you would do, or if you would just commit flagship is all I want, flagship is all I need. I'm gonna hit flagship, I'm gonna get the Stella. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot, and make sure you don't miss out on any future content.